It is super hot out. We are in the American Southwest, Southwest Colorado, and our hottest month tends to be June, believe it or not. And so we're reaching temperatures over 90 degrees, and being at 5,500 feet, the sun is also super intense. We have about, if we're lucky, 10% humidity, and that just makes everything feel super crispy. I wanted to show you a few things we do around here to try to give the horses and other animals a little relief. One thing we installed a few years ago is this tunnel type thing. This is actually 2 cattle panels. They are 16 feet long and I believe about 4 feet wide. There are 2 of them together, and we mounted them up high on the wall here and along these pallets on this side to give a taller ceiling. We adopted a rescue horse who's like 16 hands. All of our other animals are tiny, so we needed to have a lot more head clearance for Casper, our full-size horse, to get through here. And then we covered it with shade cloth, and this is here to shade our water troughs. So we have a main water trough here, and then I do a water buffet as well. So I offer herbs in different buckets throughout the season. So one of the things I'm going to do today is change these out, freshen them up. And one of my favorite herbs to add when it's super hot out is peppermint leaves. So peppermint has a cooling effect. In the summertime, peppermint is, or any kind of mint, is a really good herb to add for like a water buffet. So water buffet is basically like a very mild diluted tea that we offer in these small buckets here. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos about water buffets, it's extremely important that it is always next to a clean, clear water trough, and that plain water is always available to them at all times. The other thing I'm going to do is kelp. We have a brand new rescue goat, and he has been on a kelp kick, and so I'm going to offer him the kelp in a tea. So we have a mineral bar that he's just been getting the powder out of, eating that every day, and I'd like to see what he thinks about maybe a water offering. And then salt. This one here is salt water. We do offer a variety of salts in the summertime. It's very important to offer salt, especially for the horses. So we have a different selection of salts around. We have a plain white salt block here, which they have been licking on, but if you know anything about horses, their tongues are rather soft, especially compared to a cow, so they tend to not really be able to get enough salt off of a salt block, a hard salt block like this, by simply licking it. So we offer a few other ways of getting salt. And one of those ways is in our mineral bar here. So this is plain white salt right here. This is the kelp that Winston, our new goat's, been eating. We have humate here, baking soda, and then just some spare ones. I actually do have a piece of Redmond real salt and one over here as well that they do like. So this is Redmond real salt. I'm going to work on getting these changed out and freshened up, scrub everything out, and get them filled with the new minerals. Those are all cleaned up, and we're going to get some herbs in there. So peppermint here, we're just going to do a little handful, so maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons. 10-quart buckets. So same with the kelp. This I got at our feed store, just straight up kelp powder. Just a couple tablespoons. And then for the salt, you can actually add as much plain white salt as will dissolve, which is quite a bit. This is an 18-quart bucket. It probably could take about half a cup at least. Okay, so our water buffet is all set up, and I cleaned out the water trough as well, so we have nice, fresh, clean, cold water. So I will mention we do rotate out different kinds of herbs. Some popular ones are nettles. Nettles almost always seems popular. Calendula and rosemary. But it is always, always important to do your own research. There are several books that you can get about herbs for livestock and different animals. No matter what, you need to do your due diligence and research anything you're going to put out for your animals before you do it. We have a mixed herd, so I have to ensure that anything I put out here is safe for our horses, donkeys, goats, pigs. I think that's all that has access to it. But regardless, you just need to make sure, you know, what's safe for a horse may not be safe for your goats, or vice versa. So it's super imperative, just like always, always, always having fresh, clean water as their number one choice, available 24/7. Once the days and nights warm up, so around June, I switch over all of the bedding in our little barn here to coconut coir or peat. And the reason why is because it is so odor absorbing that my barn doesn't smell like a barn. And that means I don't have any flies in it either. So we have a fly-free zone that's nice and cool. Peat and coconut coir both work best if they're slightly damp. So hosing it down every once in a while not only keeps it dust-free and absorbing even more moisture, but it also has a cooling effect. So this is almost like a swamp cooler effect in here. And I'll show you, I have a couple of fans, but this dampness as it evaporates really keeps everybody cool. And this kind of becomes a refuge in the really hot part of the day. So we have two of these barn fans. They have sealed motors so that the dust doesn't get inside. And we also have this lean-to that provides an additional source of shade along with our little barn. Of course, we're very fortunate to have a beautiful piece of property, although small. It does have a little pond that's seasonal. It's filled with our irrigation water. That helps with some of the cooling as far as like an evaporative effect. The wind blows from the west, so it cuts across the pond and then hits our little barn. But also our animals, this is a horse track system, are usually out here, and so they can come out in all this shade from the trees that we have around our pond and then take advantage of the pond itself. So they're often hanging out near the water or even drinking out of the pond and up here in these trees where they get lots of shade, and if there's a breeze, this is a high point so they can catch that breeze as well. We also have a few trees on our dry lot side, and those we will keep. We're very mindful about trimming them and taking care of them so that we can continue to have shady areas. It's really, really nice that these cottonwoods are here and provide afternoon shade when it's super hot out, hitting the side of the barn. So they'll often hang out on this side just chasing the coolness. See maybe Winston here, he's our latest rescue. He's a little three-legged goat. He found himself a nice little shady spot too. And here's Ellie, not only enjoying the nice fresh clean water, but also a little salt water. As far as our chickens go and our turkeys, try to keep them a little bit cooler in the summer as we add shade cloth on their runs. We don't go all the way down to the bottom because we want to have airflow through there and not actually have the heat trapped inside. These are easy to hose down and again use that evaporative cooling when necessary. So this is our turkey run, and kind of the same idea, allowing the airflow at the bottom, but as you can see at this time of day the whole run is shaded and everything else is bright and sunny. We also positioned the coop to catch shade from these trees in the afternoon. So as you can see, these trees are starting to shade the actual coop. I planted this white mulberry several years ago, probably 4 years ago. It has grown really quickly, and again, it's planted right here to provide shade for the chicken run. We have this run here when we need it, so if we have high predator activity, we can keep the chickens secured in there. Otherwise, they have this chicken yard. It's a fairly big space. It goes from that fence right there, and you can see this fence kind of right behind this tree, and then down to here where they're all down here taking a dust bath. And currently this is where it ends, but we're expanding it to where that gate is. And so in here, again, we have taken advantage of the fact that we have trees along this fence line. So in the heat of the day, so it is 4 o'clock now, we start to get all of this lovely shade. I also purposely let the grass grow tall so that the ground is nice and cool. The taller the plants, the more shaded the ground, and the cooler the temperature of the ground itself. If you were to go right on the other side of this fence where the ground is more bare, your feet would get hot a lot faster. It's just scorching, as opposed to this nice lush area where the ground is shaded and it stays a lot cooler down low. So besides, they love eating the seed heads off of all the different grasses. So they have nice variety out here, tons of shade. We added a shaded area here because we have a window cut in right here, so we didn't want the sun blasting on this. We do have a fan in there right now in that window. So this just helps to release some of the heat away from the building while still providing shade. Another thing I really love are electric chicken doors. We put this one on this side because when it's hot out, I think it's about 95 right now, instead of opening this door wide and letting all the heat in, especially when the sun happens to be shining on this door, I can just open this small door, put their little ramp down, and it stays shady and cool inside. So we'll come inside now, turn off the fan, not so loud. This is the turkey side. He's got a window there, as well as one here. And then we have an exhaust fan up there that runs on solar. So as long as the sun's shining on it, it will spin. And then again, that's the fan that's in the window here. Can be turned either way, so it'll blow cool air in or to suck hot air out. And a window here, of course. And then that's another electric chicken door that goes out into the run. And that's where their food and water is, although I do have water outside as well. So you can see here it is 98.9 degrees outside. This number 2 here is our chicken coop. So it is a good 8 degrees cooler inside our chicken coop. So it makes it worth it to do those little things to make it more comfortable for them. And because water is so important in the summer, I do have a waterer out here as well underneath the trees, so it stays cool in the shade. And that way, if anybody gets overheated, they don't have to go all the way into the chicken coop. And then there is water access here. This is my vegetable and flower garden, so we do have water access. We can hose down over here to just bring any temperatures down that we need to. So they're all happy girls and boy. They're just enjoying themselves in the fact that they have all the shade. So this is our new gate. This is going to be the chicken yard expansion. So we're just taking down that fence. They'll still have all that shady area over there, but it will open up into this area. And then we are going to run another section of fence along here to that post, and this will kind of be a turkey yard. Right now we just have Albert, our tom turkey, and he and our rooster Hector sometimes don't get along, and Albert's about 40 pounds and Hector's probably about 5 pounds, so we just want to keep everybody safe. But we're letting things grow in here. There's some rabbit brush growing. I have some shrubs we'll be planting in here to provide more shade. This will all be getting watered so that it gets nice and lush like that section over there. In the meantime, we'll be hanging up some shade cloth in areas, both to provide shade and cooling, but also to provide some cover for when there's eagles flying around. So here's our fence that's going up. That'll just run across here to that post, and it'll be a nice, lovely little chicken garden. So those are some of the ways that we keep cool around here. And if you have any questions, let me know. Or if you have any cool ideas, let me know.